live and pre-recorded. This is the Red Ticket Blues podcast. I am Brian Buckley. This is being recorded on April 15th, 2019. How the hell we doing, huh? Missed a week. I'll get into that in a second. You can follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues. Listen to the show, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, Podbean, everywhere you want to hear things, I'm there. My voice is there. It's projecting. Lots of idiocy. It's there. So, obviously, how the hell are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing, huh? Here we are, tax day, huh? Do you get your taxes in, huh? Do you get your check already, huh? Yeah? Like I said on Twitter, I wait till the last minute when I owe now, which seems to be a thing that I'm not happy about. But, as if, the IRS is going to call me and be like, congratulations, Mr. Buckley, we have some wonderful news for you. You don't owe the money you did. In fact, we're giving you more money. Yeah, so I waited till yesterday to pay the feds. So I don't know why. I knew long ago, but speaking of scams, and that's not actually a scam, but just federal agencies, I guess. So somebody called me the other day. I've never had this one before. I usually get the bullshit about the student loans or car warranty extension, whatever. So I got this one from Social Security, and they're like, please stand by. It was like a robocall. Please stand by. Your Social Security number has been flagged by local law enforcement agency. Please contact the Social Security Administration. And I'm kind of like, all right, well, this is obviously a scam, but I want to play with it a little bit because you never know. It could be real because it wasn't actually a person saying it. But they said, please call this number. And it's a number that's calling you. All right, so obviously they got a robo thing going on. So I call up, and I'm just like, and it sounds like there's 1,000 people in the background. Like it's a scene where people are running from desk to desk. Cigarette smoke is everywhere. That's just the idea that I'm getting. And just people are just worked to the death. It seems like a terrible environment to be in at any costs. But they're just like, yeah, Social Security. I'm just like, yeah, I was told to call this number. And they're just like, oh, yeah, Brian, right? And they're obviously, as I see as the conversation's going on, they're getting all this information from these stupid websites that have everything about you. And they're hoping I'll be a moron and give them my Social Security number so they can match it and steal my identity. I'm much too smart for them. That's right. You see, Brian, most people would just not call the people back. You're calling them back, acting as if you're really smart. Well, I live in the world of social media where you have to prove yourself and how wonderful you are. So, case in point, continue. So I'm just like, yeah, Brian. And they're like, okay. And they give my address. And they're like, is that right? And I'm like, I'm not confirming that. And they're like, okay, well, your Social Security number has been flagged by law enforcement. It's a very serious, issue. And I was like, all right. Don't you guys normally send stuff in the mail about this? And they're like, sir, this is a very, very serious, incident happening right now. I hope you understand that. And I was like, you didn't hear what I just said. I said, don't you normally send stuff in the mail for this? And again, he just repeats the same line. I'm like, this is a scam. You're screwing me over. This is a scam. And he goes, oh, you think it's a scam? Wait till you see what happens. And then hangs up. I was like, is it normal for the Social Security office to threaten me with some sort of... Anyways, I was not planning on telling that story. It just kind of came out, and probably a lot of you are thinking, why did I have to listen to that? Anyways, so last week, obviously, there was no podcast. I was meaning to do it in the beginning of the week, and all of a sudden, I just started feeling really tired and really crappy. And then by the end of the week, I started feeling sick. And, beautiful timing. I hit the weekend, and I'm sick. I'm sorry if I'm going to be doing that. I'm trying not to. Hopefully my voice doesn't sound terrible. But, I was going to do one last week, but do you really want to hear? Let me whine about how sick I am. I'm not feeling well. No, that's not aesthetically pleasing to the, I was going to say olfactory senses, but no, to the ears either. Whatever the scientific name for that is. But, my luck, it happens on the weekend. Don't you hate when people say that? My luck. It's like, did you grow up on the streets of Bombay or like a leper or something? Like, did you, well, my luck, can you believe it? It's like, you live a pretty charmed life. Were you born in a concentration camp? Did you have cancer as a child? Shut up with your luck. Next time somebody says that, just be like, do you know how goddamn privileged you are? And then end it there and make them feel bad. Because that's what we do. Anyways. So the last time I talked to you, I was getting ready to go on a plane to go to New York City, go to my brother's wedding. Everything was wonderful. Got to see the family, everything. My parents said I swear too much on the podcast, which is probably true. I don't try to do it. It's not like I'm like, oh, look at me, I got a podcast. I can use a potty mouth. It just sort of comes out sometimes. But they are correct in that sense. I think sometimes I probably do swear too much on the show, which is kind of like what I thought Sirius XM would be like when it first came out. It's like, wow, now Howard Stern can say poop all the time. He can say shit. But I'm going to try to be better about that. All right? So try to be better with that shit. So, but yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. The wedding was, it was good. Again, it was good to see everybody. I made a speech, obviously, just crowd-pleasing speech. No notes. And then I went around, with my victory lap trying to get everyone to tell me how great the speech was. And I even went up to the people that made other speeches and talked about how I didn't use notes because I'm an ass. So they acknowledged that. And it was a good time, had by all. But overall, very good. Last minute trip, got to see the great Simon and Yonkers, threw back some drinks. I would have liked to seen other people there, but it was a very quick thing. And he came to me too. He came basically with, he traveled very close to me. So it was very easy for me, but, it was good. We met in person, talked about Twitter, talk about the podcast, all that shit. So yeah, it was a good time had by all though. And just, must have been crazy trying to leave the next day after, because after the wedding, I mean, what do? Oh, I go to my cousin's place where he's staying and we stay up to, 2, 3 in the morning just drinking. So I mean, but that's what you do though, right? But, then the next day we get on the plane and I've said it a million times, I get on the plane and, you get that turbulence and I'm just like, I made the choice to be on this airplane. I paid my fare. I know the risks that come with being on an airplane. It could crash. There could be terrorists. It could be anything, This turbulence for about probably the entire state of Iowa and a little bit of Nebraska was ungodly. It was like silent on the plane because this was so violent. And it went on for a good hour and a half. It was awful. I was thinking about the news that's going to break when they're just like, so a JetBlue plane from JFK to where'd I go? Oakland. JFK to Oakland went down. Boy, we're looking at, there are 150 souls on there. We're still looking for survivors. Doesn't look like there's any though. And then my parents getting the news, they probably would cheer. And just anyone that knew me just being like, oh my God, Brian was on that plane. Oh God. Oh, well, life goes on, right? Did somebody retweet me? But that was rough. I was grabbing the what do you call that? The table in front of me. What do you call that? The tray, rest tray. And I was just gripping it for dear life. It was brutal. It was. And then because I'm so sick and neurotic, as we're like, this is how crazy I am. As we're like, the turbulence is starting to subside. It's not over with though yet. I'm going on YouTube looking up videos of people on plane with turbulence. Like, what is wrong with me? And I'm looking up videos of what it looks like in the cockpit because I thought that would kind of like alleviate my nerves. This was the kind of turbulence though where the pilot's like, everyone get to your seats now. Flight attendants suspend service, and they like run. And I'm just like, oh God. Oh God. But then I was reading actually, turbulence, it's almost impossible for a plane to crash in that way. It's going to be rough. It's not going to be pleasant, but it's almost, as long as the pilot knows what they're doing, the turbulence could be terrible, but it's going to be fine. So there you go. Remember that next time. And then I'll have to look, when the wing falls off, I'll look that up on YouTube too. So plane wing falls off. Oh, okay. All right. There I go as I plummet down to my death on the earth. But anyways, yeah. So, what was I going to say? What the hell was I going to say? Yeah, so I got back from that, and the whole week was kind of and then just haven't been right. So, yeah, with my luck, didn't even drink. I spent all of yesterday making beer, and I didn't drink anything. What kind of cruel and unusual punishment is that? That's a lie. I went to the gas station, bought a beer just because I had to. But anyways, we got that going. So anyways, enough is enough of, my weekend and the reason I didn't provide a podcast for you. And I'm not going to put music in the back of the podcast anymore. I was listening to the, Minifan show, which, as you can tell, I have sort of a obsessive personality, Mike Francesa, who we'll get to, remember when I said we weren't going to talk about him anymore? Oh my God, we're going to talk about him. And, Kirk Minahan, who has just kind of fallen off the face of the earth. He's, they took him off the Kirk and Callahan show. And now he is, just sort of in this purgatory of just doing podcasts, which are nice, but, I don't want to listen to these podcasts. I mean, they're just random people like Alan Dershowitz, his son, someone from WEI, just all the strange stuff that I mean, it's good, but it's not what I want to listen to. But anyways, they have a podcast dedicated to, just him called The Minifan Show. And, they mentioned my podcast in it. And I think that's because I shamelessly self-promoted in one of the reviews on iTunes. So I actually talked to the guy in DM. But he made this comment, and I'll play it for you here. I'm rethinking putting songs here. So I knew I was playing with fire anyways, but hearing someone else say it, we're here right here.
Got any other, like... So
who's that guy, the Red Ticket Blues guy? How does he get away with using all these songs in his podcast?
I think he's just waiting to get sued.
Okay. All right. I guess so.
Yeah, so I don't want to do that. And again, I knew I was playing with fire. And at the same time, I know, all these record companies not scouring, my podcast looking for something like, I got him. Used the Beastie Boys song. Oh boy, we're taking you to court big time. Thanks for the great Al Del Greco though, for pointing that out to me. Be like, hey, did you hear that on the podcast? Cause I listen to the podcast occasionally. And, so I'm sorry. you're not going to get to hear your favorite songs at the end of it. I'm just going to get some nice royalty free, no copyright music at the end of podcast now. So that's going to be the norm. All right. And if, BMG or Island Records or anyone wants to come after me, then obviously they'll give a cease and desist, and then I will have to edit every single podcast and take that out and then repost it. And then hopefully it doesn't come to that and we can just move on. So anyways, 11 minutes of just nonsense babbling. Anyways, where do we start with this? Where do we start? Let's start with the Yankees. That's where we start a lot of times. So, we've gone through this psychotic Twitter. Last time I talked about it, psychotic Yankee Twitter who thinks the season's over 3 games into the season. And, we're reevaluating the season every half inning. If someone strikes out or someone hits a home run, we completely change how we feel. It's April 15th. We are in the middle of April, and I'm not happy with the team. All right. I'm not happy. However, you have a bevy of players on the injured list. That's not an excuse because they have been playing crappy teams. The Yankees are 6-9, always 9, and the Red Sox are 6-11. Now, why am I bringing up the Red Sox? Obviously, it's a stupid question. I don't even have to ask myself hypothetically. No one believes in Baltimore, even though they're 1 game ahead. Well, they're tied with the Yankees. They're 7-10. Tampa Bay, 12-4, becoming slightly worrisome. Now, they're off to a hot start. They won 90 games last year. And Toronto's in the basement where they belong. So the Yankees take on the Red Sox tomorrow, licking their wounds as they go into a 2-game midweek series, which I don't think I get to see. No, do I get to see tomorrow? Yes, I do get to see tomorrow. Then I got something on the other day, right? This is so 4/17. Yeah, it's Wednesday. All right, so I get to see tomorrow. Anyways, what was I talking about? It's not fun to watch. It's not a fun team. It's a boring team. They actually put together some runs yesterday doing some small ball, was that Saturday, which is wonderful. But this team continues to get hurt. You have Severino out till God knows when. You got Betances out till God knows when. Hicks is just hanging out. He said he was in New York to do his taxes. He doesn't know when he's going to be doing things. They've removed Jacoby Ellsbury's locker from the locker room, which basically means he's going to die soon, I would assume. And who else? Didi, who knows when he's coming. I mean, all of these, Stanton. This team stinks. They're not good. Like the product that's being put out. That's another thing I don't understand though. People are like, oh my God, look at this lineup. I made a comment. It's like, looking weak, but like, oh my God, Boone, can you put together a more pathetic lineup? It's like, guys, come on. Let's try to put it in perspective here. Boone is that's another thing, Boone. People want, I was talking with the great Simon Yonkers. The manager that you want, the one that kicks dirt and spits tobacco and goes with his hunch. And, I remember when we were playing in a AA game back in Greensboro in 54, like those guys don't exist anymore. Like you're not getting that. Everyone uses analytics, some more than others. I get it. You want Aaron Boone to be this grizzly old vet who's gonna really mix it up with the umps and and get in a player's face, like he's Billy Martin or Reggie Jackson. He's not that kind of guy. But as time goes on, I will say this. Can Aaron Boone show a heartbeat? Can he show a pulse? I'm not asking for him to be Earl Weaver and, try to fight umpires or whatever the case may be, push people like he's Pete Rose. But like, can you show that you're a little ticked off? And I don't even mean calling people out, but this happy pom-pom waving garbage it's phony. It's false. It's patronizing. After you lose a game against a really shitty team, you shouldn't be sitting there going, listen, we're right there. I feel like we're really about to turn, and that's the thing. Turn the corner. I feel like we were right there. We just hit some really good, contact with the bat and, I understand you got to be positive. You can't be like the psychopaths on Twitter, just like, oh my God, get rid of him, send him back down. but can you show a little bit of displeasure? Just a little bit, like, listen, we got to step up. Guys need to step up in here. You know, we're really failing with big at bats. This team's too talented to not overcome this. I know this team can do it, and they really got to start. But they really got to start putting it on the field. You know, I'm tired of, maybe not even tired. That's maybe a little aggressive on April 15th. Let me retract that. Say, I know this team's capable of a lot more, and we got to get some big hits at the right times. I'm confident we'll do it, but I mean, we really got to, start putting this into action right now. Is there anything wrong with that? It's just like, hey, we're right there. We're right there. Stop it. Jeez, man. And these are against the bad teams. That's the other thing that's so frustrating. If we start off this week, oh God, I just said we. If the Yankees started off the season against, Red Sox, Houston, Dodgers, whoever, just all the great best teams in a row, and they lost, that's fine. I get it. But these are the bad teams. Come on. And then there's anything more frustrating than that Houston series? They were in every single game. Every single game they had a lead, I believe. But I don't know if they had a lead in every game, but they were in every single game. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And Gary Sanchez, obviously he's injured right now, but he defines this season. When he's on, he's on. He's hitting. At one point he was leading the league in home runs. And then the other point, he's getting picked off a third. He's picked off a second. Like, get your head out of your ass, man. Like, you can't have, there's no confidence in this team. This is how bad things are. J.A. Happ, another underachiever, which, granted, I was whining about him on Twitter, and I forgot, he did actually pitch very well in the regular season last year, 7-0, when the Yankees acquired him. I think I'm just blinded by that playoff performance, which was god-awful. I was going to say it's worse than David Wells in that Game 2 of the World Series, but he left out of an injury just because he's unconditioned fat. He's unconditioned fat? You're missing words. There's connector words, Brian. You're not just pronouncing. Sometimes my brain moves way faster than my mouth. What was I already lost? J.A. Happ. This is how boring and struggling for positivity and joy this season is right now. CC Sabathia came back from his first start. He pitched his first start. He did well. He did great. And they're interviewing him in the locker room after the game. And J.A. Happ had like a Red Bull. It depends on what media member. He had some sort of object in his hand to replicate a microphone. It was shampoo bottle, Red Bull. Who knows? Who cares? That's the main point. Who cares? And he said, Oh, excuse me, as they're asking him questions. And CC laughed and laughed because it was J.A. Happ. He's a baseball player. He's not a reporter. He doesn't ask questions. So he said, hey, CC, how's it feel, coming back for being gone for this long and then really painting the corners? And the media thought that was the most hysterical thing that has ever happened since Adam and Eve. It was, which I don't really think that was that hysterical of an event. I'm just trying to, historical purposes. I don't know if Adam was that funny. I mean, the snake, the apple, all that. The serpent. But everyone thought that was so funny. That's where we are. J.A. Happ pretending to be a reporter is hysterical.
Britt and then Chappie closing it out, so it was good.
CC, J. Happ here asking for a friend. How are you able to paint the corners? First big league start.
Oh, God. Stop. Jeez. That wasn't even that funny. And the entire media was out of their minds about it. Like, that's got to be something when you're working in the media, that whatever these guys do is so angelic, so important, so funny. Imagine when they actually do things of substance, how they want their ass kissed. I mean, these guys are still talking about this shit days afterwards. It's just like, that's how bad the season is. And I guess the other funny part, which I admit actually was funny, was the guy that called up Joe Harvey, his dad, who was bombed. You know how they like to do those. And he hit Meredith Marakovitz on the ass, too, by the way. Let's not forget that part. She tried to play it off like, oh, yeah, good to see you. And he was just like, hey, good game there, coach. Let me see if I can find that clip here. Let's see.
It's just really the ultimate of the baseball.
Yeah, for the baseball.
As far as we're concerned. I said to my wife this morning, this kid was 7 years old. I've seen him pitch. I said, he's got a little bit something on his fastball. And through the years, but through Little League and just baseball,
I don't think I could hear it any better, Mr. Harvey. Baseball. You're right. So those are the two things that have been, that was actually funny. But the other thing, J.A. Happ, again, that's the positives of this year. That's really it. I do actually like a little bit of Judge, kind of being like, yeah, I'm not happy with losing these games. And just because, you say it's early doesn't mean you don't care about the games in April. So can we stop this stupid online, insinuation? Oh, the games don't matter. Of course they matter. But I mean, again, you're going to go crazy in the beginning of a season. There's 162 games played. Use your head. I just don't understand this, not to get all crazy again with the psychotic Yankee Twitter, but I mean, this doesn't seem healthy if you want to do this sort of thing. Why would you do this? If you hate it so much, why do you do it? It got me. It reminds me of like Randy Quaid in Major League 2. That's how some of these people are. Anyway, so I guess you can only hope for better things, but I only look at the Yankees and Red Sox in this division. Now, I know, Tampa Bay is still there, but the Red Sox lost again today. Yeah, so and giving up big hits to Chris Davis. So, I mean, 3 hits, 4 RBIs today for Chris Davis, a guy who couldn't get a hit for. And I love how people like to say, he hasn't got a hit in 260. Yeah, well, they haven't played in months before this. It's such a weak argument. Oh, actually, no, he got a hit on January 7th. Anyways, anything else going on in baseball? I'll say this, and mention Simon and Yonkers again. This Peter Alonso thing, he said I'm completely wrong on it, and I will say this. I am like Hitler in the bunker here. I'm not looking good, but I'm sticking to my guns. I'm still sticking with it, even with the walls closing in around me as Peter Alonso continues to dominate Major League Baseball and just be an amazing player. I'm still sticking to my guns. I am being that, I'm going to have my people around me. Where's Ava? And, whatever happens, happens. But I'm going down with the ship, as they say. I'm going down with the ship. So, oh man, yeah, not much I can do. You can't walk that one back. You can't just be like, well, maybe I was. No. I can admit when I'm wrong sometimes. This is not it. I'm going down. Going down with it all. What else are we talking about here? 22 minutes in. So how's everybody doing, by the way, huh? I enjoyed the weather when I was actually I got in on a Friday. And it was absolutely disgusting. And I said, this is why I hate, New York I'm referring to. I said, this is why I hate this. I'm glad I left. Thank the Lord. Thank God. And then the next day was beautiful. We were wearing shorts and a t-shirt. It was amazing. Where the hell did all my topics go? Okay, hold on. We got to pause this. This is going to be an issue. There we go. Jeez. What the hell was I going to talk about here? Did that. Yeah, so Francesa's actually been no, we'll get to that later. I'm not going to jump into that now. Let's see. Speaking of baseball, Angel Hernandez is about to unleash just a cornucopia of documents of why that he's been wronged, and for all these promotional things as an MLB umpire, as they're not allowing. I'll say this. That they're not allowing minorities to play a bigger part. You don't see a lot of them. Now, the problem with him is he stinks. He's from all races. Everyone under the rainbow says he's a terrible umpire, and they're vocal about it. So he doesn't have much of a case there. That's kind of, talk about a losing battle. I mean, my case with Peter Alonso is better than his. But if he does say something about, other minorities perhaps, because if you look around the umpires, it is a pretty pale bunch in MLB. And, it's not always the most pale makeup of players. Now, do I know that minorities are being shut out of umpire school? I don't. Maybe they're the only ones applying. I don't have the answers here. But that's, it's going to be, on a personal level though, Mr. Hernandez is going to have a very difficult, all you need is quotes from CC Sabathia and other players to say how awful he is. I believe he said, I believe CC said he's fucking awful, I think that might be a direct quote, perhaps. Let's see. Yeah. The other thing because I've talked about this in the past here, the speakers are listening to us. I know that was not a seamless transition whatsoever, but the speakers are listening to us. And what I mean by speakers, I'm fully confident our cell phones are listening to us, which that has been known, but I feel like they're listening more so. And Amazon and Apple and all the Google and all that crap, all of their home activation devices revealed today that yes, they're not just picking up words to store, because that was the BS from Apple. It says, oh yeah, Siri just picks up certain words and then they use it for advertising purposes. No. That's a lie. We saw you in the green room hooking up with her. That's a lie. No, Amazon says they have people employed to listen to your conversations. There are morons. Well, I don't know if they're morons, but there are simpletons. They might not be simpletons. They have people that sound like a really crappy job listening to your conversations. Again, sitting in there as if they're like decoding things, the Nazis, whatever. I'm just imagining like a small solitary light and lots of cigarette smoke and people listening through only one headphone. That's the way I always think of these things. And it's just some sort of, whatever, But, that was terrible. That wasn't even English. Jesus. So I remember when I first got my Amazon Echo, I was so excited. And then once I heard about it, I stopped, and now it just sits in a drawer. And all those people. My father's one of them. If he's listening to this, you're one of them. And he's probably saying, well, who cares? They want to listen to me, go for it. Alexa, turn off this podcast. So I wanted to bring that up. Just another, I'm starting to get into just, oh, God. This is an example I said to my wife the other day. And when I was talking about this exact same story. And I'm just like, you think they're listening to us? And, she's, barely paying attention. And she's just like, yeah, probably. And I was just like, well, I want to join ISIS. And she's like, stop it. I was like, what? I can't say I want to join ISIS? And she's like, that's not funny. And I'm like, do you think about it? Obviously, I don't want to join ISIS. There's barely any of it left anyways. But if I did want to join ISIS, I'd call Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and I will say, I'd like to join ISIS. No, but if forget if I wanted to join ISIS. It's not important. What I'm saying is, we're scared about saying what we want in our own home. Big Brother is listening. Like that's an extreme level. And of course, it's not like my wife and I, we'll sit here, we're going to start communicating by hand signals in the home. But I'm just saying I doubt she would be the only person to say that. I think some people be like, hey, come on, we're talking about recording. Don't say stupid stuff. Don't pledge your allegiance for Osama bin Laden. The Sheikh. Glory be to God. But that's where we are right now. That's scary to think like that sometimes. We can't say, hey, they might be listening. And we're fully, it's not like they're like, hey, it might be bugged. We bought devices knowing that they might be listening, and we're putting them in our home, and they were saying, hey, watch what you're saying. Those things that I bought, they might be hearing us. It's just like, you brought it. Okay, whatever. People are thinking, now I'm getting to like the people are thinking I'm crazy part. But you know I'm right, too, by the way. Let's see. So we had Mr. Tiger Woods yesterday. And there's something about Tiger Woods. I talked about the book that recently came out called Tiger. Just very, very eloquently known, Tiger. Terrible person, and you know that anyways. Forget just his issues with his wife, just all around. It's a great book. I recommend it to everyone, even if I'm not even a golf fan, but I think you would enjoy it, just knowing about Tiger Woods. And he wins the Masters, and I watched part of it Saturday. Here's the thing, Saturday, as I'm still kind of sick, and I'm not sure if I'm sick or not, but I'm feeling not great. I go to a beer shop to, not beer where they're selling it, but beer to brew stuff, so I bought a whole bunch of new crap. And I got distracted, and I stopped at a brewery right across the street, which doesn't really take that much distraction if the brewery's right across the street. And I'm sitting there, and it's there was an NBA game, and then it went off, and then there was like some UFC, and I'm like, am I going to tell the bartender, hey, can you put on the golf? And I'm just like, oh, God. Did I just say put on the golf? And like this old guy who's like 60-something next to me, he's like, yep, yeah, it's on CBS. Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm just like, oh, God. I'm such a middle-aged white male. Oh, I hate myself. God. Why did this happen to me? And the Tiger effect exists. I'm watching it. And then I go home and then on Sunday I'm watching it. I don't know what it is about Tiger Woods. Maybe it's just being a phenom from a young age. Maybe it's the years. It's not even just the years apart from when he won the Masters, which is 2005 or whatever. I mean, granted, it's something like 15 years in between. Because is it just that he looks different from every other person there? He has zero personality. He's a milquetoast bore. He's a jackass. He's an asshole. He's not a good guy. He's a really, really bad guy. If that book and basically every other story you've ever heard about Tiger Woods is true, then he's a really bad guy. But you root for him. I was rooting for him. If he lost, I would have been like, I just wasted my time watching this. That's how I come across. It's just incredible. Now, I will say that entire thing about him hugging his son first was totally played, was totally staged, just so they could put that back to back and be like, the generations continue. What a shot. Look at that. You know, him hugging Earl Woods, him hugging his son. The tradition continues. And granted, maybe Tiger didn't have anything to do with that, but I'm sure someone said, send the kid out first, the son, have him run out there. That was totally staged. We know this. What can you say, though? I mean, I'm not going to watch any more golf, but you know, you got Trump. Trump's in love with him. He wants to give him the Presidential Medal of Honor. And of course, like Trump almost like taking the victory. He tweeted 3 or 4 times about Donald Trump. I mean, he tweeted 3 or 4 times about Tiger Woods. Like, winning the Masters is great. I get it. But do they really need that? I don't think that's, do we need that many? I mean, congratulatory tweet. Presidential Medal of Honor, which a lot of people, I think, look at that, like, dignitaries and, you know, astronauts get, and which they do, but that goes out to, like, everybody, by the way. I mean, Gloria Stefan has a Presidential Medal of Honor, by the way. John Wayne has one. Tom Hanks. So these aren't the great minds that have shaped the world. So let's just cool it with that. Hey, John Wayne shaped me. What about the Green Berets? The only movie for the Vietnam invasion. Let's see. So we had that. And today was the big news too. That we saw the Notre Dame, the cathedral, the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris go up in flames, which I just saw actually the interior of it. And it looks like it was barely, I won't say barely touched, but in really good condition because you see the overhead view of it. It looks like it's all just destroyed. But hey, whatever. Now you have to immediately think terrorism, but I haven't heard anything about that. It is Holy Week. It is Paris. That does seem to be a attractive target for Al Qaeda and ISIS and whoever it might be. It represents freedom, the City of Lights, all that garbage. Now I have been to Notre Dame. Yes, I've been there. There's this weird phenomenon, and there's two groups of people, and one of them I called seeing today, which again, you know, it doesn't take any great intellect, but we'll go with the first one, and that is the tragedy glory tragedy seekers, we could say. You know, I thought about, I think it's completely natural when you see something, a monument or something happen, and you think about when you were there. That's completely normal. If you don't think about that, there's probably some sort of block in your brain. When you go to put that stuff on social media, in the middle of this happening, I'm sorry, there's something wrong with you. That's not normal behavior. And I know some people are thinking like, oh yeah, look all over social media, Brian. Maybe you're the one that's not normal. Just because I'm in the minority doesn't mean I'm not normal. Didn't you already call yourself crazy for looking up turbulence footage while in the middle of turbulence? That's possible. But, I mean, you have people, oh, I remember when I was at Notre Dame. Yeah, here we are, my family. It's like, yeah, this thing's burning to the ground. Like, imagine if Twitter existed. Like, on September 11th. People would be doing that. You'd have the World Trade Center, people jumping out of a building, and people be like, oh, I remember when I visited New York back in 95. I was just a little girl in a big city. Those skyscrapers, I couldn't even see the top of them. Like, that would happen. You know I'm right, too. It would totally happen. Just save it, people. Save it. Save it for the glory afterwards, the rebirth of an event. You're in the middle of a tragedy. Your first inclination is to be like, where are those photos? Where are those photos? I gotta post those. Oh, I was at Notre Dame. Oh, it was so great. Oh my God. You know, even Barack Obama did it today, which I found for a guy who, again, maybe that's just the world we live in now, but for a guy who's usually pretty polished with that stuff, maybe people like him can get away with it, like polished dignitaries and former presidents can get away with that. I still find that to be really strange. And Trump, you know, Trump is doing this new thing now too, not to make it all Trump. Usually when I say I'm not going to make it all Trump, that's usually when it's all Trump. Right? Real Donald. I love he has a real in front of him. That's so great. Real Donald Trump. God bless the people of France. That's not what I'm looking for, though. Dude, this is another thing about Tiger Woods. Oh, no. No, it's not. Okay, that's an old one. Let me see here. So horrible to watch the massive fire at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Perhaps flying water tankers could be used to put it out. Must act quickly. Dude, it still boggles my mind, but you're the president of the United States. You are not like a disaster emergency homeland security person. Oh, yeah, actually, he governs it, Brian. Shut up. That's not what I'm trying to say. Stay out of business like that. And then he said he had something the other day about the Boeing airplanes. What do I know about branding? Maybe nothing, but I did become president. But if I were Boeing, I would fix the Boeing 737 MAX, add some additional great features, which, listen, we all love adding additional great features. I mean, especially when they don't even have any names. But great features, and rebrand the plane. You know, the Boeing 737 Super Max, perhaps. I made that up. Rebrand the plane with a new name. No product has suffered like this one. Actually, I could probably think of a few. TWA didn't do very well. No. But again, what the hell do I know? It's the president. It's the president talking, imparting his wisdom in things where he does not belong. Gotta love it. But so you have the tragedy seekers, and then you have these other people, which I knew because you have an old area like France, a country that's been around forever. So I knew these people were going to come out because this is this other group of weird human beings. Not even weird, but we'll get one thing at a time. They're going to say, oh, France, well, they've committed atrocities all over the world. And, so let's talk about how we're going to jump and enjoy and glee to see this artifact, this historical monument burned to the ground. So I'm shocked they came out. And I predicted this before on Twitter. I wonder how many art pieces and artifacts that were sitting in the Notre Dame were stolen from former colonies. And the person replies, I'm dying at all the white people triggered. Oh, God, I know. I was so angry. It's a damn building that's literally used for tourism. No one died. Move on. Now, I will say to that second part, there are people probably killed in your city today that you will, ignore while stuffing your fat face while it's just mentioned as a blurb on the news. And then you go, lean over to fart and whatnot. But a building 7,000 miles away that you've probably never gone to makes you cry up. Which, another thing on Twitter, we got to stop saying we're crying at things. People are not crying. Stop it. There used to be a point in time when, men and people in general would try to hold their feelings in, and that's not healthy. Now we're lying on social media about things for more attention, which might be even less healthy. Can we meet somewhere in the middle and just be honest about our feelings? That's what the Red Ticket Blues podcast is all about. iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube. Come on. Leave a review. Come on, iTunes. Leave a review. You're already here, right? Take some time. I'll wait. Ugh. Are you going there yet? The hell with you. Do it on your own time. But what inspires some of these people, though, let's see. Notre Dame on fire is the most aesthetically pleasing visual I've ever seen. That's also shock value for attention as well. But what I really predicted is this. It's the people that will look at this and then they'll be like, yeah, France has been around for a long time. Yeah, so is that Notre Dame Cathedral. What else have they done in history? It's like, oh, wow. Look at this. Look what they did to people in Africa. Look, there's a revolution here. And what will happen is they will have, some sort of blogger, some checkmark dickhead from Salon or Vox or Daily Beast or whatever you want to pick. And then they'll be like, they will take information that is readily available and they will then present it to you as if hey, did you hear about this? Can you believe this? Hey, parlez-vous France, parlez-vous hatred much? Yeah, guess what? Napoleon wasn't just, he didn't just hate his own people. He hated everyone and he was a racist. And then we all have to be like, whoa, I never knew about any of this except for the fact that I did know, and all that information is readily available in your library, and it has been since you were a child. But hey, find information, then rebrand it, regroup it, and then give it to us, and then we'll pretend it's new. I love that. Hey, did you hear about this Khmer Rouge? Yeah, 3 million people, Cambodia, dead. Pol Pot, what a crazy name. Crazy guy too, huh? Whoa! So then you can go to your next, Brewfest party and just say, hey, guess what? Hey, everyone knows about Pol Pot, right? Oh, yeah. Well, absolutely. I read that article, too. I know. That guy was really bad, right? Oh, God. Man, I want avocado toast. Now, am I being extreme? Of course I am. Boy, Brooklyn, huh? And just to jump in real quick. I was never an expert on Brooklyn, but boy, it's basically just an area of different levels of hipster. I mean, that's really what it is. I like the place we stayed in, though, Greenpoint. That was actually, you see, gruff-looking angry people and guys in tracksuits. I felt like I was in New York there, people begging for change. And, you got some other ones where it's just like, oh, look, the Oak Tavern, whatever. And it's like, yeah, $17 beer and, just, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not doing a very good job of explaining it, but But get ready, though. Those French things, I guarantee you, in the next 3 days, we will find out somehow how Notre Dame Cathedral is an evil place that, makes skull and bones look like a Chuck E. Cheese. So get ready for that. There's going to be something, there were mass sacrifices, and the Illuminati hung out there with I don't know, Michael Landon or something. It's going to come out, and you're going to see it, and everyone's going to sit there, and they're going to be like, oh, look how woke I am. Woke me. Je suis woke. Anyways, so let's get to the last topic of the day. And I thank you all for listening once again, because you're all beautiful people. I couldn't be happier to have you as an audience. That's where I kiss ass, obviously. And that's Mike Francesa today, someone that I said I would not be talking about that much, but today was one of those days where Mike was reborn, in a sense, on social media. And that is the ratings came out. He and Michael K. up head-to-head, as they always are. The big Mikes. And for all intents and purposes, Francesa won by the hair of his chinny chin chin. Now, we can get to the brass tacks of it, the fact that, for whatever reason, now that WFAN is owned by Entercom, not CBS Sports, they don't count the stream because it has to do with ad revenue. So if you actually take the official numbers, you take away the stream from Francesa, then K actually wins. But, for all intents and purposes, like I said, I'm anti-Mike now, as we all know, and I'd like to see him lose, but that's ridiculous to just count, ESPN streaming numbers and not Francesa's, and he wins again, and he went after, I'll play the clip here. He went after ESPN. He went after, their VP. I mean, Michael K. and Peter Rosenberg and Donald Greco are a bunch of losers. I mean, they sat there eating a cake, celebrating. Guys, that is the most hollow victory you've ever seen in your life. Like, that's so phony. Like, how could you do that? Come on. And to actually put those pictures on social media, I mean, it's like, I was going to say it's like winning an NBA Summer League game. It's like winning spring training. It's not comparable, but it's so fake. And here's Francesa. Maybe we'll play the whole thing. Who knows?
That wasn't real. As far as McCarthy, who is the Stump Merrill of local radio.
That is a diss.
Okay, I don't expect him to understand the ratings. He obviously proved he doesn't understand the ratings. Look at his product. Okay? So clearly he doesn't understand the ratings. So I guess if you lose that long, I should have some pity on them, because when you get beat, you're ESPN, and you get beat like a rented mule for 20 years, it's got to hurt. So I guess I should, maybe, you know what, let's just say, let's say congratulations to them for coming close. We'll send them a little prize for getting within 0.3 of a point. How's that? Which really was larger than that, because I did take a week off of vacation, which we won't count that week because it wouldn't make it more than 0.3 of a point, but leave that alone. We'll make it just a 0.3 of a point and send them a prize for coming close. How's that? They can get a trophy, the whole thing. Because this is a show that usually when they have these polls and they list the top 100 shows, they're behind every single show on FAN, including the weekend ones.
Mike's like, even those.
They need a little help.
Even Richard Neer.
Something. So let's come up with something we can give them to make them feel like they've accomplished something through all these years. Now, they did win the one book I was off. They did win that.
I don't want to hear anymore.
I don't know if they made a big deal about that.
But at the same time, okay, Mike. Come on. We got to move on. I'll say Francesa does have a gift, though, to completely annihilate someone and not even bring up their name. Because he never says K's name in that whatsoever. So, although Francesa has become a national embarrassment lately, and that's much, in part, mostly due to Funhouse. Let's be honest. I mean, Mike said Virginia wasn't going to win the national championship. He never would have. He never thought a team like that would win. Obviously they won. He had a player on, and that player, basically a college basketball player, is bullying Francesa around, and he took it. Old Mike would have hung up on that kid. I don't care who you are if you just won the national championship. He's coming on there and bullying Mike. And then obviously his Tiger Woods, which I can't get that angry about. Tiger Woods, he said Tiger had no chance. Who really thought Tiger had a chance? He was 14-1. Now, granted, that's better than, 1,000-1. But I mean, did really anyone, he was ranked at like 140 in the world. All he had was name value. Did anyone really think that? But today was one of those days that you just, I don't know. Francesa comes back into your life. It's still a terrible product. And it's crazy how we all go on social media and we get involved in two shitty products in the sense of Michael K's show and Francesa's show. And we argue about ratings, argue about things that have nothing to do with us. This is just blood money that will never, it's not blood money, but it's money that has nothing to do with us. We're making other people rich and we're worrying about it. I know, me as a Francesa fanboy, you think I would be like, well, Brian, it's good fun. Come on. But I don't know. I look back at it now and I look at it and I'm just like, what am I doing? I can engage in this a little bit, but Funhouse has 66,000 followers. And he retweeted one of my tweets where I said, imagine Mike gloating about, 5 years ago, imagine Mike gloating about beating Michael K. And he retweeted it. And these people have been arguing in my mentions. I mean, I am sitting here with my thumb just going through it and through it and through it and through it. No, we don't want to spill that much blood. The life is too short. I can't do it. I know. And so many people listening, Brian, you're such a hypocrite. Shut up. Look at you. You're going to all the Francesa cons. I know, Francesa con. Anyways, people. How about that picture? Why do radio stations still do this? Like the picture that the Michael K show released to say that they won, which they didn't. Why do they all have to be like holding sports things? Like Don LaGreca's throwing a baseball. Like, oh, wow. Look at that. He's really into sports. Michael K's got like Michael K has a football and it's resting on Peter Rosenberg's head. It's like, that's funny. Footballs don't be on people's heads. And Rosenberg has a megaphone. Like, why are we, they really look at the audience as a bunch of morons. They really do. Like, we're stupid people. Because that is what we need. 3 guys standing there couldn't do it. 3 people have to just, authenticating. What? What is that? That wasn't even close to a word. Trying to be authentic about, trying to be authentic about how much of a sports fan they are. Like, what, do you think I would have taken any more pleasure or pain in that? Anyways, so that's a long podcast you just listened to, people. All right. I'm sorry for not being there last week. I apologize to all of you. Whew. You know where to listen to the show. iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, especially those iTunes people. Please leave a review. It would be greatly help. Even if you don't want to leave a review, 5 stars, just hit the 5 stars. Very easy process. And I will be forever grateful to you. Let's see. Follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues. Like I said, songs are done, only copyrights now. So I'm cool. Guys, we're on the same team. I'm cool. So with all that being said,